Welcome to 50 facts that you didn't know about Mario Sluggers. I've done some iceberg style trivia videos on the channel before, but this video will feature completely brand new details that will blow your mind. We've got everything from glitches to unused content to things right out in the open that you would just never notice. After you watch the video, comment below how many of these you already knew. If you knew at least 10, then you're a Sluggers pro. At least 25, and you're a true Sluggers fanatic. If you knew all of them, well then you're definitely a liar, because there are some here that only I know about. Alright, let's get started. Mario Sluggers shows you who has good chemistry with whom on the character select screen. However, it doesn't show you who has bad chemistry, and there are 3 characters without any bad chem at all: Monty Mole, Wiggler, and Koopa. In addition, the Miis have no bad chemistry at all, which makes them extremely versatile when it comes to team building. Speaking of bad chemistry, Hammer Bro and Daisy have bad chemistry, which was mentioned in the iceberg video. However, the thing I did not know at the time was that the other bros, Boomerang and Fire Bro, do not have that same negative chemistry. This does make sense, given that Hammer Bro was the one to trap Daisy in the statue in story mode, but it's the only instance of an alt having different chemistry that I could find. As for good chemistry, the most popular chemistry character isn't Mario, Bowser, or Yoshi, but Baby DK. His alliances with the babies and the Kongs give him 9 total links. However, if you include alternates, it's actually Baby Peach, with an incredible 17 links, due to her friendship with the Yoshis and the Toads. In Yoshi Park, there are 2 different types of trains. If you play during the day, the train only has 2 cars, but at night it has 4. This makes a big difference in the outfield, as the longer train has more chances to mess with the fielders, or even the ball. Speaking of Yoshi Park, the carts in the Piranha Panic Stadium minigame are directly ripped from the Piranha Pipe cart in Mario Kart Double Dash. You can see this by looking at the bottom of the model, where the textures are the exact same. They wouldn't have even bothered to texture the bottom if they made it just for this minigame. You can unlock some secret characters without ever going into story mode. You can unlock Blooper by completing practice mode, and Wiggler by playing Toy Field. It's also possible to get some players purely by playing exhibition mode games, and you'll see them unlocked if you go into story mode. I'm not exactly sure how this mechanic works though, or even if you can get all the characters using this method. The instructional booklet for Mario Sluggers has a strange mechanic called scattering hits, tied to either the control stick or the D-pad. For vertical controls, it's listed as a defensive attribute, but for horizontal, it's in the batting section. So what exactly is it? Well, if you hold up while batting, your hit will have a lower trajectory than it would have otherwise, and vice versa. This mechanic was actually part of the tutorial in Mario Superstar Baseball, but was never mentioned in Sluggers, so very few people knew it was even a part of the game. However, one mechanic that the booklet doesn't tell you about is the fact that holding A makes you hit it more right, and holding B makes you hit it more left. This is incredibly strange, and is really only helpful in story mode, where you need to aim your hits. The items chest order in story mode depends on what order you visit the stadiums in. The Fireball, Mini Boo, and Pow Ball could either be in Mario Stadium, Ice Garden, or Warrior City. This actually created a lot of confusion in the comment section of our story mode playthrough, since a lot of viewers looked in the same treasure chest, but didn't get the item they were looking for. Recently, we were able to data mine the entire stat table for Mario Sluggers, and here's the coolest things we found from that. The in-game stats for batting, running, pitching, and fielding are generally accurate, except for a few. For example, Monty has a 4 out of 10 batting, but his actual charge hit power, according to the data mine stats, is 50. In addition, some characters who have the same in-game stats are actually different. Yellow Pianta is faster than Red Pianta, 25 to 20, Green Yoshi is faster than Pink Yoshi, and K. Rool is slower than Red Magic Koopa, which means he's the sole owner of the lowest speed stat in the game, with a 10 out of 100. However, the owner of the worst stat overall is Waluigi, with a 1 charge hit power, though he does have a 90 for slap hits. The system that calculates the trajectory of your hit is extremely convoluted, but when it comes to a charged sweet spot hit, like you would hit a home run with, there's 3 main categories: low, medium, and high. For example, the Toads are high, which is why they hit a lot of dingers despite their low power, but Wario's in the medium category, which is why he struggles to hit it over the fence. We used to think it was meaningless, but the fielding stat actually directly correlates to how often the character bobbles the ball. In most cases, someone with an elite stat like Diddy will bobble around half as much as a poor fielder like Purple Toad. If you look closely in the back of DK Jungle, you can see an actually realistic tree texture. It's much easier to see on the full extracted model. DK's fingers are too big to fit in his glove, which can be seen in his T-pose model. What the game does is shrink his fingers while batting, which looks incredibly funny if you remove his glove. Mario's sleeve doesn't fit quite right. There's a small blue line that indicates some sort of texture fitting error, but it's so tiny that you could never notice it in-game. Mario, Bowser Jr., Daisy, and DK all get angrier in their Star Swing animation during the replay. It's possible to hit Mario's Star Swing over the fence on Daisy Cruiser if the ship is tilted. And on modded stadiums, you can even get a home run animation with his Star Swing, as well as Bowser Jr.'s. Speaking of the Mario Fireball, it actually has accurate thermal properties. If it hits one of the ices, it will cool and turn into a normal ball.
Did the iceberg cool off the fireball?
I think it did. Hold on, I'm gonna go back. It did.
Every single flying character has a double O in their name. Boo, King Boo, Paragoomba, Blooper, and the Paratroopas. It's only 6 characters, but it's still a strange coincidence I find really funny. Speaking of flying, you probably know that you can catch Daisy's Star Swing with flying characters, but you can also attack through the Daisy Star Swing gates. It takes some skill, but you can catch the ball using this method with most of the cast. Another method that's even more difficult is using a super dive to catch it. Just like with the attack method, you need to not be standing directly at the fence, or else you can't perform any actions. Just stand a little bit away and use a character with a great super dive, and you can barely nab the ball. While we're still talking about Daisy, let's address her stadium, which is by far the most jank stadium in the whole game. Let me just show a few gameplay highlights.
Wait, Peach! Where'd she go? Peach! Peach! Where'd she go? Wait, dude, the camera goes under the they did not think about that, did they? They did not think about the camera going underneath the cruise ship. Wire City middle. And then the second longest is Luigi's Mansion. Oh my god, the ball's stuck! Wait, I've never seen this. Oh my god, this is... Alright, clip this. This is legendary.
These next few aren't glitches, but could be considered errors. The water level in Daisy Cruiser is higher at night than in the day. Also, the puddle and table configuration changes from the preview to in-game. But perhaps my favorite quirk on the cruise ship is that Gooper Blooper can not only hit the ball, but he can also hit buddy jumpers in the act.
Oh my god! The blooper hit the buddy jumper! What? That can happen? What? I didn't know Gooper Blooper could interact with the fucking players. What? Okay.
Alright, next up is a section fully devoted to the new unused content we've found in Mario Sluggers. Mario Sluggers has some unused character textures still accessible in the game's files. In Bowser Jr.'s texture files, there's an EGAD logo, which matches the one in his paintbrush in Mario Sunshine, but it isn't used for his bat in Sluggers. King K. Rool's bat has an unused green color texture, which was scrapped for the cooler looking teal version. But the most awesome one is definitely Petey Piranha's unused bat. Of course, he doesn't use a bat in the game, but hidden in the texture files is a sweet looking, pink spotted bat. There's also some interesting textures hidden in the stadium files. The giant statue in center field of Bowser Jr. Playroom has a stomach texture, so maybe they were planning on making his whole body visible. There's also an unused cloud graphic that's used in the preview image for Playroom, but not visible in actual gameplay. The Funky Shop in DK Jungle has a radical surfboard sign that goes unused in the game, but is actually visible in the credits, which must be a screenshot from an earlier version. Wario City has an unused sign that points to a casino. I wonder if this would have been used in story mode. It could have been a lot of fun. But that's all small peanuts compared to this next one. There's a full build of an earlier Mario Stadium version that you can load in. It's got cool lighting and even a sick hat design on the scoreboard that isn't used anywhere else in the game. There's also an early build of Toy Field hidden in the code. This one is crazy. There's these floating orbs in the home run area that I assume would have given extra points. The color scheme is also wildly different. Funny enough, this early Toy Field is somewhat present in the final build of Mario Sluggers. The reflection texture on the ceiling is actually the reflection of the earlier version. Of course, what would unused stadiums be without unused characters? In the stat table and in some texture files, there's blank slots that belong to Black Critter, Black Toad, Black Pianta, and Black and White Yoshi. In addition, Gray Shy Guy was also originally called Black Shy Guy, so there's erasure of all the black characters for whatever reason. Lakitu has an unused voice line for Dead Ball, even though Dead Ball is actually possible in Mario Sluggers. There's also a voice line for Time, and an earlier one for Strike, which is much more excited than the one we got in the real game. And what would a game be without some scrapped music? There exists a song in the files called BGM Captain, which could have been a banging background to the Captain Select screen. But we also have another one titled Jin Ma Chance, which sounds like this. Given the name, it was probably an earlier version of Mario's Chance Time jingle. The replay that shows after a run scores or a nice play happens isn't just a video file, it's a perfect simulation of the play in real time. Or should I say, it's near perfect. While playing with the Item Raid mod, a viewer noticed that the replay was vastly different than the actual play that happened. I think the items messed with the RNG somehow to create this alternate universe play.
I don't think so.
What would that be marked in the scoreboard?
Not exactly sure.
In Ghost K, all of the ghosts have yellow eyes, except for the yellow ghost, which has orange eyes. In Luigi's Mansion, they gave the yellow ghost green eyes to stand out, but I guess they thought orange looked better for this particular minigame, but it's not like anyone noticed anyway. Speaking of Ghost K, there's good evidence that it was originally going to be in Daisy Cruiser. The internal file names for the balls used in the minigame are Daisy Ball Red, Daisy Ball Blue, Daisy Ball Yellow, and Daisy Ball Green. Now this doesn't really make much sense, since why would they have the Ghost minigame not be in Luigi's Mansion? But maybe they were planning to have Luigi's Stadium just be the night version of Daisy's. Nighttime Mario Stadium has chalk that says Mario Stadium behind home plate at night, but not during the day. However, in the overworld, it has it on all the time. Speaking of Mario Stadium, behind home plate is another scoreboard. It's really high up, and given that there's no seats in the home run area, I'm not really sure who it's made for. Now here's one that I never knew about, but a lot of casual players say they've noticed. When you hit A and B to activate your star power, the star icon glitters for a second. You can use this to see when a batter is going for a star, and it can help a lot in a competitive scenario. Birdo, Magic Koopa, and the Bros can all bobble with their super dives, even though the ball doesn't bounce off them. You can see here by changing the value that determines a bobble, the ball will either go right by them or will be caught. So if you miss a super dive with any of them, especially on a star swing, it might not be your fault. Now for this next one, I'm not even sure if it's true or not, but sometimes it looks like you can slide under a tag, even if the ball looks like it beat you out. It seems like only certain characters can do it too. Maybe ones with a running ability, but that's just my theory. If another fielder gets hit by an item during a special catch, like a hammer throw, you'll switch control for a frame and drop the ball. However, you can do another dive to catch it, and it results in a weird animation.
What? What? What the fuck was that?
Ukiki from Mario 64 is on the team that beats Bowser in the opening cutscene. It's really strange that they added someone who isn't in the game when they had the whole rest of the roster to fill up the bench. Laser Beam is never affected by bad chemistry. This means you can put K. Rool in center field and a Kong at catcher with no problems whatsoever. Mario Sluggers has only North American and Japanese versions since it wasn't released in Europe. The North American version also has Spanish and French translations, but those are pretty much the same. However, the Japanese version is very different in some areas. A couple small differences. The nice hit message during a home run is changed to just meet. The Japanese version of the toy field sign behind home plate is the same as the early version, which has a different font than the US version. There's text on the JP coin that says "Be up at bat first" and "Be up at bat last." Lastly, the Japanese and French version have "Miracle," and the Spanish version says "Bees ball" instead of "Home run" in toy field. Now, more interesting is the name changes. Each character has original file names, which show their Japanese names. Dark Bones being Bloody Karen is pretty funny. But the Captain Team names have also changed, at least some of them. And the biggest change is Birdo, whose name in Japanese is Catherine. Her team name is the Catherine Lips, and even her voice line in the Japanese version is different. Baby Mario's hat is much bigger than Mario's. You can see this clearly if you swap them on the models. Yoshi has a strange animation quirk, where his throw appears to come out a few frames earlier than it should. But the other Yoshi colors have normal looking throws. My theory is that they're going to give quick throw to green Yoshi, in order to make him stand out more, but they changed their minds late in development. If you use a mod to select the same Mii multiple times, the duplicates will be headless in the game. It's one of the most disturbing glitches in Mario Sluggers. King Boo's crown colors are backwards. Normally, King Boo's crown has a blue gem in front and then red on the sides. Even his official Sluggers art has it the correct way. But his in-game model has red in the front and blue on the sides for some reason. It's not the most egregious design change he's had in a game, but it's still strange. Here's what happens when you max out the stats by overriding the game's limit. And here's what happens when you set it to a negative value. Alright, this last one is the craziest. There's 3 characters who have different animations for getting unlocked or selected in challenge mode, and for getting selected in exhibition mode. Those characters are Peach, Toadsworth, and Bowser. Now, 2 of those are even weirder. Toadsworth's unlock screen has an extra sound that should not be there. Listen closely to Luigi's unlock. And now Toadsworth. You hear that little extra sound that doesn't correspond to anything? For whatever reason, it plays for Toadsworth and nobody else in the game. But that's not as weird as the secret hiding in Peach's unlock screen. Take a close look at her animation. Notice anything weird? What the hell is that on her cheek? And now shift your gaze to her left eye. Her eyelash is missing. Ladies and gentlemen, Peach's eyelash is hanging off the side of her face, magnified far beyond what it should be. This is probably the most egregious error in the whole game, and yet I've never seen anyone talk about it. Thank you so much for watching. Huge shoutouts to the Mario Sluggers community as a whole for making this video possible with all the discoveries in the past 2 years. I want to give special attention to Little Cokes for data mining the stat table, HFB for the Daisy Star Swing catch video, Llama Trauma for doing a ton of digging in the game's code, and Gino Penguin, who has discovered an insane amount of unused content and interesting trivia, without whom this video would be nowhere near as awesome as it is. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.